Okay, what is going on, everyone? Darkside Phil here, and it's time for a serious talk. It's time. It's one of those rare occurrences where this is really, I feel, a moment in time during my whole internet presence, my whole deal doing stuff on YouTube, on Twitch, where I need to take time out and I need to talk directly to you, the viewer. All right, and regardless of what you've heard, regardless of anything that may be going on right now. I want you to try to, for at least for the length of this video, take my word for it, listen, and then you can do whatever you want afterwards if you want to judge, however you want to interpret what the purpose of this video is. I can tell you right now, this video, I did not plan on doing it, okay? First of all, this is completely impromptu, off the cuff, and I just have to get something off my chest, all right? And I know that a lot of people have been saying that I've been doing hypocritical things lately. I, for one, can say 100% I can understand why you would say that me making this video is kind of hypocritical, because I said a few weeks ago that regarding this whole issue of negativity surrounding myself, particularly on YouTube, that I would not address it. I would just completely ignore it, and we would just push ahead positively. And I've done that. I've done that for the past month or so. Unfortunately, what it seems to me is that the situation has become something that it has never been in the past, because by far I've addressed negativity in the past, and I've gotten by lots of it in the past, whether it was things on YouTube, people making up ridiculous stories saying I was a cult leader, people putting false copyright strikes against my stuff, me getting kicked off of entire websites and businesses. There's been plenty of negativity, and we've always overcome it, okay? But in this particular situation, I actually feel that this is not a situation where it can be ignored anymore, because there's been basically a spin put on it that's different from all the other times. Let's face it. If someone says something about DSP, oh, DSP's a cult leader, immediately you hear that, you're like, that's absolutely ridiculous. He's a cult leader? Yeah, he's walking around in a robe and he's brainwashing people. You immediately, if you're a logical thinking person, you dismiss that. But in the past few months, there have been some things going on that there's been an interesting spin. There's also been grains of truth here or there to the things that have been said, that I really feel that people have almost felt like they've legitimized their negativity towards me. And newcomers, I'm not talking about people who know me, people who've been watching me for a long time. I'm talking about the people who, when I put out a new game playthrough, oh, this guy put out a new playthrough on a certain game, and they go to watch the videos and they see 5,000 thumbs down, and then they say, what the hell, why does this guy have so many negative votes? And then they search for my name on YouTube, and the first 10 results that come up are videos basically saying, DSP's a piece of crap, don't watch his content, he hates his fans, he hates this, he's a dick. And it's to that point, to the point where if I just left it unaddressed, that just people who don't even know who I am would not even know anything, that there's a positive association with my content, and they won't even watch. They wouldn't even give my stuff a shot, okay? Now, I want to say this up front before we get started, that this video is not going to be about bitching about views. It's not going to be about attacking particular people. I'm not going to be raging and swearing and cursing and going nuts on camera. That's not the purpose of this video, okay? The purpose of this video is to get a message across, okay? To directly address some of the things that have been going on, okay? To give you my take on it, all right? And to basically get this off my chest. Because what I found is that the past month or so, I said I was not going to address the negativity anymore. That was it. It was over. Because I realized that when I do directly address it, especially certain particular people, that unfortunately those people get attention that's undue, unwarranted, and actually helps them. So the people who are trying to hurt me get helped when I mention them. All right? So I've been trying to completely ignore it for the past month. But what's been happening is that in the back of my head, there's been this little thing that's just been growing and growing and growing. And it's just nagging me. And it's like, it's to the point where on a daily basis, it annoys me to the point where, like, it's affecting my work. All right? And I need to get this off my chest and to be real and honest with you in order to basically be able to continue on with what I'm doing. So I have to talk about this. I just have to, okay? And regardless if after this video there's a negative association with it, there's a positive association with it, more people hate me, more people like me, there's no effect, I don't care. The purpose of this video is to give you the real talk situation about what's going on right now, okay? and to basically get it off my chest so that I can push forward positively. I have to do this or else I won't be able to push forward positively, and that's a huge thing for me. If I don't feel positive and I don't feel excited and you know, looking forward to the things that I'm going to be working on, then, you know, then what's the point of doing all this? I've always said this, that no matter what's going on in my life, whether there's something horrible that was going on when I had my full-time job, if it was something horrible going on with work, if there's personal things going on in my life and there's all negative things dragging me down behind the scenes, I could always turn to you guys, the viewers, to be some people I could open up to, people I could be honest with. And it's an amazing experience over these past years since 2008 to have an audience that I can actually talk to, all right? To people right now, I'm live streaming this. We've got over 1,700 people on a live stream that want to hear me. They want to listen to what I have to say. And regardless if you hate me or love me, just the fact that I have that ability, it's an amazing feeling, okay? And really, what reason that I'm making this video is that it seems this past couple months that that's kind of like not as much so. Meaning, you know, if oh man, I had a bad day, all this stuff happened, but you know what? I still got YouTube. I still got Twitch. I still got that positive thing that spin on my life. And then I go to YouTube to see how my latest vlog did or to see how my latest video did, and all I see is, Phil sucks. Why are people watching this? This is crap. He's the worst commentator on the internet. Thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down. And then I see people actually literally saying, well, I now am afraid to even watch Phil's content anymore because there's such overwhelming negativity surrounding it, okay? And so I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this relationship with my viewers, my viewership, the back and forth that we have over comments, over the stream chat on Twitch, over Twitter, over Facebook. I love it, and I don't want to lose it because all of a sudden there's this crazy negative vibe associated with me in social media and on these websites, so I need to address it, okay? And I am going to say this up front, and then we'll finally get started to the subject at hand, is that it's because I want this to be hyper-focused on the message, okay? That what I've decided to do is right now I'm live streaming this on Twitch. It is actually subscriber-only mode chat, which means that almost no one can chat, only mods and subscribers, and I've actually asked everyone to please keep the chat down to a minimum. I just want my message to stand primary of what I'm doing here, rather than, oh, you got haters on one side saying, fuck Phil, blah, blah, blah. My staunch defenders and supporters, some people would call them fanboys on the other side, who are going back against the haters. I don't want that. That's white noise that needs to be silenced so that we can have a real talk conversation. And I really do feel that I am one of the most real people on the internet because I can have these kind of conversations and I'm real with you and I give you the truth about stuff, okay? In addition, if you're watching this on YouTube, I have disabled comments and likes and dislikes for the first time ever. This is the only video I've ever made in my entire career, over, well, almost 20, I think it's over 20,000 videos I've now uploaded to YouTube. I am disabling comments and I'm disabling likes and dislikes because it's not about that. I don't want people, oh, Phil made an important vlog about negativity. Well, let's take a look. Oh, 4,000 thumbs down and 100 billion nasty comments and then 100 billion rabid fanboys defending him. I can't make heads or tails of this. I'm not going to watch the video. And I don't want that to happen. In addition, I will be taking no commercial breaks during the course of this video, and I will not be enabling ads on this video on YouTube. That's right, I am making this video solely for the purpose, again, of getting my message across. I don't care about making money on this video, alright? So I'm trying to do this for the very first time to let you know how serious I am about the message that I'm about to portray, okay? Alright, so all that being said, that was a very long and complicated intro. Thank you for bearing with me. Let me get to the bottom line and the subject at hand. Okay. So, negativity and hate, alright? There's different reasons why it happens. And a lot of the times it's jealousy, okay? I don't in particular really think that that's the situation surrounding me right now, okay? A lot of the times it just happens for different reasons. Now, over the course of my YouTube career, because let's face it, I'm relatively new to Twitch. I've been doing Twitch for, what, 6 months? But YouTube is really primarily where I've been known on the internet. There has been varying levels of negativity and hate associated with myself. When I started playing Street Fighter 4, and you know my unique style when I make videos is that I like to rage, I like to call people scrubs, I would lose hilariously and then flip out and say it wasn't my fault and all that. Initially that kind of garnered a divide on the internet. It was like some people thought that was hilarious and funny, and they watched my videos because of that. And some people thought, this guy's a dick. Why does he complain all the time? And I completely understand that. That's the same exact kind of feeling that happened when I used to be part of the fighting game community, the competitive fighting game community. There were a lot of people who liked me and a lot of people who hated me. So it's always going to happen when you are some kind of a personality, okay? And then over the years, as I, started to become more popular on YouTube, you had people who literally just did the most blatant, slanderous things for the most ridiculous reasons. There was a person who at one point was a mod on my fan site, thekingofhate.com. And he completely went off the rails. He was abusing his mod powers. He was insulting people to the point where he got demodded, all right? Instead of maturing up, he decided to actually just basically completely try to derail the site, doing nasty stuff, spamming, all kinds of stuff. He got banned from the site. And by the way, it wasn't me that did any of this. I didn't ban this guy from the site. He got himself banned. He then progressed, went to the internet, found a couple other people who had been banned from my content, all right, because for various reasons, acting like idiots, insulting people, doing nasty stuff. And he basically formed this group of people who made a series of YouTube channels that basically tried to discredit me, say that I'm not a real gamer, I'm an asshole, I'm not professional. DSP is a cult leader. He's actually trying to brainwash the youth of the world into paying him money for playing video games. It was like the most absurd fucking thing, all right? It was just these people who were just way out there. And at the time it was funny because some people were like, Phil, this is important. Are you going to address it? And I said, do I really need to address it? Do you know how absurd that is? I sit here every day and I sit down like a Joe average gamer and I play games and I have fun and I do commentary, and that's my thing. That's all I care about. Do you think I care about brainwashing thousands of people to be dedicated, loyal subjects and I'm trying to steal their money? It was the most preposterous thing. And after, months of them trying to do that, it went away. Okay? It just went away because there was no legitimacy to it. It was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous claim, and eventually those people just vanished. They went away and vanished, okay? But now what I found is that this past year in particular, unfortunately, there's this one particular situation that happened, okay, that people have used this situation to legitimize an anti-DSP campaign on YouTube. Now, one thing that needs to be said, this is not addressing whatsoever the people who make montages of my content, whether in a positive or negative light, and are making fun of me for failing in games. That's actually not the purpose of this video whatsoever. Those aren't the people I'm even addressing in this particular message. You know what? They went out, they did it. I don't agree with it. I think that if you do negative montages of stuff, it's malicious, but I can't help it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go out of my way and dwell on it. I'm pretty much done with that. People want to do what they want to do. They can do it. All right? Find it entertaining, you're going to watch it, watch it. I don't find that kind of stuff entertaining. That's my personal opinion. Maybe you find it. That's not what I'm addressing in this video at all, all right? What I want to address are these people who are coming out and they're saying, well, I used to watch DSP, but then this particular situation happened, and he hasn't legitimately addressed it at all, and because of that, I don't like him anymore, and I want to make a big campaign that everyone should stand up against DSP. He does nothing positive for anyone. He hates his fans, and he abuses his fans, and that's it. Let's all do it together. And what's happened right now, literally on YouTube, it's a fad. It's actually become a YouTube fad among people who watch Let's Plays or playthroughs to basically make these kind of videos. Say, I don't like DSP anymore. He's a dick. And when you watch them, it's funny because there is a grain of truth in every single one. There's always going to be a grain of truth. There's a reason why someone may become upset with someone, all right? Maybe there is something that I did to piss someone off, and that's always going to happen. I'm never going to, all of the time, please everybody, and I understand that completely. You can't please you can please some of the people all of the time. You can please all of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. So there's always going to be people who get upset. Maybe they think that my content has just become blasé and boring and repetitive, and I haven't really done anything to mix it up since I've been on YouTube, and therefore that's it. That's why they're not watching anymore. Maybe some people, you made one comment that you didn't mean to be insulting, but you said it at a day when I was just in a bad mood and maybe 20 other people did say insulting comments, and you put it in there and that was just the wrong time to do it, and I modded your comment, I deleted it, or maybe you even got blocked from one of my channels, and you're now pissed about that because how could Phil, I was giving him a legitimate comment, a legitimate criticism, how dare he do that? You know, that's a legitimate criticism of me. That if I did do that, that's absolutely a legitimate criticism of me. And so, like I said, there's always a grain of truth in these videos that people are going to make that are going to have negativity associated with them. And I completely understand that, all right? However, it's now gotten to the point that, and I'm not exaggerating here, if you just go to the YouTube search and you type in DSP Gaming or you type in Darkside Phil, the majority of videos that are going to come up first are people making these hate videos about me. All right? And like I said, it's literally to the point it's a fad now. It's like it's the in thing to do. You used to watch DSP, but now you've gotten a little older, and maybe he did something to maybe annoy you at one point. Make a hate video about it because everyone's doing it, and it's a fad, and everyone's watching these videos. I mean, undoubtedly, people wouldn't be jumping on the bandwagon, okay, if there wasn't a reason to do it. And right now, it's actually people are doing it to get popularity and to get views, and it's apparently working out. Apparently it's this big thing where, oh well, we're going to do it and it's fun to do because now we can say all these ridiculous things about DSP. And the thing is, it would be all right if these videos were 100% truth, but 99% of them, what I've seen is that they're like, well, I'm using this one situation as a reference, and based off of that, all the horrible things that people have been saying about Phil must be true, and so fuck him, no one watches stuff, everyone shit on him, keep making these hate-filled videos about him, okay? And really, it was funny because I was actually reading people's comments, I was reading people's tweets as I said that I was going to make this video today, and people made some really good points. They said what it's become at this point, it's not just a little splinter group of people who are, doing this ridiculous DSP cult leader stuff, alright? That stuff is so ludicrous. It's literally become a mob mentality of bullying, okay? That's what it's become. It's become online bullying, where there may be a tiny little nitpick you have with me and you turn it into this giant explosive bomb and you're gangbanging me basically with a bunch of other people because it's popular now and you think it's funny and you're getting views based off of it, okay? I'm not saying you in particular the viewer, I'm just saying that's the situation with these people who are making these videos, alright? And the thing is, with bullying, and I can tell you, I can speak from personal experience because I was bullied when I was younger, and you might be surprised by that. You might say, Phil, but you're 6 feet tall, you're not a little shrimpy dude. How are you bullied? Look, everyone gets bullied. Everyone in their life gets bullied unless you were like 20 feet tall, a giant roided monster. You're going to get bullied in your life. And there were points in my life where I was bullied, and I sought help from people, whether it was my parents, whether it was from authority figures like leaders at school, and they did nothing about it. They basically sat the bully down and said, don't do it again. Next thing you know, does it again. All right? So just, ignoring bullies doesn't work. The only people who say that ignoring bullies makes them go away are people who have never been bullied before. Someone made a good point. They said the people who write books about anti-bullying and say just ignore it and it goes away are the same people who write books about parenting but they never had kids. All right? You have to address it, because if you don't, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And that's what I said. This real feeling, this negativity, has been nagging me in the back of my head for the past couple months because I haven't really been fully addressing it, all right? Now, admittedly, about a month ago, I did actually go on this podcast, and it was Kane Bringing the Pain, and I believe the other person's name, and I apologize because his name is weird. It's like Adverazum or something, some weird name. But anyway, I went on their podcast, and they asked me some real talk questions, all right? And people were like, oh, this is the chance. First of all, people were like, wow, I can't believe DSP's doing this, that he would even go on a podcast and address the negativity. It was really the first time that I would allow myself to be interviewed about that kind of stuff. And they said they wanted to talk to me about all the negativity surrounding me, and they would have very poignant questions, and they wanted me to be prepared that it wasn't going to be like they're not fanboys, but they're also not haters. They're kind of middle of the road, and they wanted to see my honest answers to a lot of the things that they had to ask, okay? Now, for the very first time, I'm going to be 100% real with everyone about that podcast, all right? A lot of you have seen it. You know what I'm talking about. I had one stipulation for going on the podcast, and that was it. So all the rumors you've heard, all the nonsense, the slander people have been saying about me, and in regard to that particular podcast, you're going to find out the truth about it right now, because I have no reason to lie. You could ask the guys who did the podcast. They'll tell you the same answer, okay? I had one stipulation for going on the podcast. The stipulation was I did not want to address one particular person who had made a video about me, and that video had blown up massively in popularity because I had mentioned it inadvertently, knowing that by mentioning it I would basically draw attention to that video. And I felt I'd already given him enough popularity. I said I would generally address the subject if people wanted me to, but I would not address this one particular person in general because I didn't want to give them any more undue attention. And that was it. That was the only stipulation I had. Any other question whatsoever was on the table for that podcast. And through the course of that podcast, I answered intelligently and honestly as best I could. I openly admitted that this year I've had a lot of negativity, unfortunately, associated with me, and I've been a lot more negative about stuff, primarily because this year has been a disappointment for me for many reasons. Number one, because earlier this year, my contract with Machinima was renegotiated and I'm making less money. And that led to a lot of negative things this year. For example, I would plan that this year I wanted to move out of Connecticut. Connecticut is way too expensive for me to be doing what I'm doing. There's no benefit for me to live in Connecticut besides being a few blocks away from my parents. There's really no other benefit to living here. The taxes are too goddamn high. The prices are too goddamn high. And I could live anywhere in the world that I wanted and pay less because this is an internet-based business. I don't have to be in one physical location to do it. Number two, I was looking forward to possibly getting my back fixed. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have a very serious back injury. All right, it's a severely herniated disc in my lower back, and I had two choices when it was diagnosed in 2007. Either get very risky, intrusive surgery that may or may not even fix the problem, or to make life choices to adapt and adjust to it, and I have made those choices. I don't carry heavy things anymore. I don't drive on the highway. There's a lot of life changes that I had to make that are very hindering on the things that I can do and on my mobility. And I was hoping that this year there was this new technology that was announced, okay, and it's now a new surgery for this back injury that is non-intrusive. It's a laser that they actually use to fuse everything, and apparently it's an outpatient surgery, meaning I could just go get it done and be home in the same day. Of course, I'd be laid out for a few weeks, but I'd be able to get it done quickly. I can't do that this year, and it's not a money issue. It's actually because I still live in Connecticut and I live alone. If I were to have that surgery, I need someone to take care of me, to basically, help me around. I'm sure those first few days I won't even be able to walk by myself. To help me, obviously, with food and stuff for a few weeks while I heal up. And I don't have that. I live alone. And this place is too cramped for my girlfriend to move in, and that was what I meant. My plans this year were to move to a bigger place, to get my back surgery, and to get my life back on track from this detour that I've had since this injury happened. And this year, I was not able to do that because I got this pay cut from Machinima, and undoubtedly, I publicly have admitted this all this year, my viewership has had a decline. All right, it's stabilized. There's way more people now who are making videos, let's plays on the internet. When that happens, undoubtedly people gravitate towards newer people. People get tired of the same old thing. There's the viewers who are maybe the new viewers who are coming to YouTube for the first time to watch gameplay are now jumping onto the bandwagon of these giant YouTubers doing it, and it's very hard to even find middle level people like myself. Okay, that's what I consider. I don't consider myself big time. I consider myself a middle level person. Okay. So these two things factored in had a massive negative impact on me this year, and it unfortunately did get to me. It made me kind of be pissed off a little bit more about things, to the point where I decided earlier this year I had to do something to completely mix it up, because just doing what I was doing wasn't working anymore. And so I had to completely change the way that I was making my videos. I adopted direct capture and live streaming, and I also went ahead and basically granted amnesty to everyone, unbanned anyone I'd ever blocked on a YouTube video ever, okay, and basically said I'm not policing comments anymore. And for the majority of this year, this has been actually a true statement. I have not actively been policing comments whatsoever. The only time when I actually police comments are two situations. Number one, if someone specifically asks me to do it, and I've had probably more than 50 times this year, when I put out a video, there's a group of assholes on there just saying nasty stuff that's obviously ridiculous and untrue. And people, my viewers said, Phil, can you please go moderate that, because we can't even concentrate. And that's part of the reason why on this video, no comments, no chat, no likes or dislikes. I don't want that distraction. Okay, I want you to be listening to the message. Okay. Now, in particular, if people ask me to do that, I will do it. Number two, the other thing is just by chance, maybe it's a vlog that I made, and I'm asking questions in the vlog, and I want your feedback. And I'm reading the feedback, and then all of a sudden, oh God, here it is. It blows up a bunch of idiots just saying nasty stuff. Then I'll moderate it. But that's it. I'm not actively going anywhere to moderate comments. I don't think it's a useful use or productive use of my time to be constantly censoring things and moderating things. I think that's a waste of time, okay? But, again, unfortunately, these past few weeks, this past month, it seems like these people who are making these negative videos about me are taking it upon themselves to take that negativity to all my content to the point where legit viewers, people who like to watch my content, they may not be fanboys or anything, but they just like to once in a while watch my content. They don't want to put up with it anymore. They see it and they're like, I'm not watching that. You know, I'm not going to put up with 100 negative comments, all these thumbs down. I'm just going to go somewhere else because I don't want to deal with the negativity, okay? So, I went on this podcast, the Cane Bringing the Pain podcast, Gamer Talk Live, and I addressed all the questions that they had, okay? Now, I wasn't actually expecting to get anything out of it whatsoever. I just thought that, hey, if someone really wants to ask me real talk questions, I'm a real person. Like I said, I feel I'm one of the realest people on the internet. I'll give them honest answers. And I did. And by the end of that podcast, you had a group of people who were basically my fans all along. They said, you know what? That made us feel good. He was honest. He addressed a lot of issues. In fact, I even went out of the way to address a situation that I had with the Arid Lord, my longtime fan, my friend, my personal friend, who was a little bit upset about the fact that he couldn't hang out with me this summer. It didn't work out. We were trying to get it to coordinate. It didn't work out. And he was a little bit upset, and he used that opportunity to kind of vent some anger and some concerns that he had about some of my content and things that I've been doing this year that he didn't agree with. All right? And people, these haters, these people who were making these videos, this bandwagon mentality, used his video. They're, oh, that's an example. See? His longtime fan and friend hates him now. To which Chris was like, what? I never said that. And that's not what the intention of the video was. He actually ended up taking down the video and basically apologizing to me, which he didn't need to do. But he apologized to me and said, I didn't mean it like that, and I'm sorry that they used it as more fuel for their fire and their bandwagon mentality of bullying against you. Okay? So I addressed that on the podcast. I didn't have to, but I did. I even went out of the way and explained that situation. Because I thought they were going to ask me about it. I really did. I thought they were going to ask me about it. So I actually went out of my way to be as honest as possible. Of course, immediately after the podcast, that was it. The haters, oh, this was his one big chance. This was his opportunity to address, and he didn't address any of the issues. And this is really, again, this is where this mentality of little nugget of truth turned into bullshit kind of flourishes. So the little nugget of truth here was that there was one particular person who I said I didn't want to talk about on the podcast. They took that nugget of truth and they lied. They spun it and said, well, he said he doesn't want to talk about this person. He didn't want to talk about that person. He didn't want to talk about this situation. And he had a laundry list of criteria before he went on this podcast. So that's why really they didn't ask any tough questions. He's an asshole. He was just, it was a lie. He wasn't really going to be honest with anyone about anything. He was just trying to put smoke over your, over your eyes, and fool you. And it's a complete lie. It was completely untrue. I had one stipulation, and I just told you what it was. So for them to say all that stuff was a complete and utter falsehood, but because there was a snippet of truth, most people say, oh, well, I guess they're right, because I watched the podcast, and really there was nothing that made Phil look bad, so they must be right. And they just use that for more fuel for the fire. And the bottom line is this. The people who really hate you, or the people who are using negativity to make themselves popular, are always going to hate you. All right? In any form of life. They're always going to bully you. They're always going to do that because it makes them feel good about themselves and it gives them attention. Okay? And that's why this is happening right now. It's not because all of a sudden Phil has changed and Phil is completely different in what he does now and his content isn't funny anymore. It's because they've realized that by saying this stuff, they've now joined this bullying popularity group and now they can get attention and views for doing it. And that's really what's going on right now. Again, this bandwagon mentality. Okay? So I noticed after the podcast this was happening, and I even addressed it on Twitter. I said, listen, they're always going to hate no matter what because they're doing it for a reason. They're not doing it for legitimacy. They're doing it because they're not looking for any kind of an answer or an apology or an explanation of why things are happening. Instead, they're doing it so that they can be popular. So just ignore their stuff. And that's what I said. I'm going to ignore it from now on. For the past month, my whole kind of mentality was just ignore it, push forward positively, and do what I do in a positive fashion and just ignore all the negativity, okay? But it finally came to the point Now, right now, like this is pretty much it, where the common viewer on YouTube, like I said, they're not a fanboy nor a hater. They're just looking for content. And, oh, Dark Side Phil, DSP Gaming, what's he about? And they type it in, and the first thing they see are a bunch of hate-filled, nasty videos about me, 99% of which are false, 1% of which has a little nugget of truth. There's a guy, this is a absolutely 100% true situation. You can ask anyone in the stream chat after we disable subscriber-only mode about this. There's a guy who I've never talked to whatsoever. He regularly viewed my streams for months this year since I've been streaming, okay? I never talked to him whatsoever about anything. I don't know the guy. I don't even know what his real name is. All of a sudden, one day, he did something. He got banned from the chat. He went and made a hate video about me. DSP sucks. His content's horrible. You know, and it was all because he was butthurt about getting banned from the chat, and he saw that all these people were getting popularity making hate videos about me, and he made one. And I don't know the guy. I never talked to him. I didn't ban him. I wasn't even involved in any of it. But somehow I'm now the brunt of his attack because he wants to get popularity, and he's angry that he's banned from my chat and my streams. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that's the situation going on right now, all right? But this all came to a head. Ooh, got a little bug here. This all came to a head this past week when I was putting out content, and basically at every turn, all I got was nasty stuff from people. And, you know, I could ignore it to a point. You know, you can ignore everything to a point. But when you get to a certain point, you're like, enough is enough. You have to talk about it, all right? And there's one person in particular where all this started. And I apologize that I am going to address one particular person, but it's going to be in a completely truthful and respectful manner. And I'm hoping that this is going to clear the air regarding the entire situation around this person, because people have used this one person's situation as a way to fuel this entire campaign. So let's see how you do after I tell you the real story about what happened with this particular person. And this particular person, I get the feeling a lot of people on the stream know who I'm talking about, especially if you have been a member or a longtime member of my website, thekingofhate.com, and it is my fan site, okay? And I'm going to explain the whole situation from start to finish. Bear with me because it's going to be a long one, all right? Okay, so back in 2000, I want to say 2010, yes. In 2010, I had been doing this vlogging, playthroughs for YouTube as a hobby for over 2 years at that point. And people loved it. I was at a big point of my popularity on YouTube. It was before the market was massively oversaturated, and I lost my job. I lost my full-time job of 5 years, and I didn't know how on earth I was going to support myself. I had no clue. I had no fallback because it completely blindsided me. Everyone at my job was giving me recommendations saying that I did well. I actually got a special commendation award for going above and beyond the call of duty at work. 2 months later, they laid me off. That's the situation of the economy in the United States. So at that point in time, I was at one of my lowest of lows, okay? And I basically reached out. I reached out to my viewers, and I said, listen, what I'm going to attempt to do for the next couple of months is I'm going to try to do this internet thing full-time that I've used to be my hobby as my job. I have a partnered channel on YouTube, okay? And for the very first time, I asked everyone for help. I said, if you would like to donate, obviously I have no income right now, that would be appreciated. If you can help in any other way, that would be appreciated. Spread the word about my content. Let's get people talking about DSP so that people will watch my stuff. And at the time, 2 people, and I say 2 people, it's actually a lie. One person approached me regarding building me a website, all right? His name was Chris Furtado, all right? And he was young. He was at that point, I think he was either 16 or 17 years old. So right at the get-go, I was a little bit wary. I said, you know, he is kind of young. Is he going to be mature about this? Is he going to be serious about this website? Or is he just going to create it and then throw it to the wolves and just let it go to hell? Okay? And he approached me. He said, listen, Phil, we're fans. Myself and my friend Teo would like to start you a fan site. We'll lay the groundwork, and then you can tell us what sections and stuff you want in it. You can use this website to move your massive community over to it, and it's going to be a great positive thing for you. You'll be able to do things like feedback threads. You'll be able to do contests. You'll be able to use it to get questions for you know, Q&A sessions. And at that point, it was a massively positive thing. I was like, I can't believe it. I was so appreciative. Thank you so much for doing this. This is obviously going to be a massive boost for me, somewhere where people can go and talk about my content that's not just YouTube comments, okay? And to the day that I die, I will be appreciative to Chris and Teo for making that step, okay, and for doing that for me, okay? Now, we're going to talk a little bit later about some stuff that I found out regarding the situation. But let's stay positive. Let's talk about the evolution of the website, thekingofhate.com, for several years, okay? At first, the website was kicking. It was booming. It was exploding because, again, there was this white-hot hype behind me saying, wow, Phil is the underdog. He got laid off from his job, but he's going to try to do YouTube full-time. He never made a dime doing it before. Now he's going to try to do it full-time. Let's support him. Let's talk. Let's be a part of the positive DSP community. And people went in droves to the King of Hate website. We had thousands of people registering at a time on a daily basis. It was nuts. It was absolutely out of control. And over the course of 2011, which was the first year where I was basically making money doing this was my job, okay? The website evolved, all right? At first it started out as just a forum, then people said they wanted a chat so they could interact live daily and talk with each other in the chat. That evolved. We had new moderators who came on who I'm eternally grateful for, people who are longtime users of the website, and I'm purposely not going to say any names because I know if I only say one or two names, people are going to be pissed and say he didn't name me because I don't have a list. Like I said, this is impromptu. I don't have a list of people in front of me to thank. But to any of you who've ever been involved with thekingofhate.com, who have moderated, who have helped out, who have created sections, who worked in the news, especially to the one person who knows who she is, who did massive amounts of recoding of the website to make it better than what it initially was. Thank you so much because you guys, whether you realize it or not, and some of you right now are on here, you're mods on my chat. Whether you realize it or not, you guys are a major part of why I've been able to be successful. Positive thinking people who've helped me, who've given me constructive feedback over the years, who regardless of if I'm at my highest high or my lowest low, you guys have been there for me, and I appreciate that so damn much, and I hope you know that, okay? So the website evolved over the course of 2011, and what ended up happening was about halfway through the year, it was found that maybe things needed to be recoded, things needed to be changed around. Unfortunately, what I found was that Chris and Teo, who supposedly were the people who made this website, basically kind of became absentee owners of the website, meaning they weren't there a lot. They didn't really participate in a lot of the stuff on the website. They didn't really participate much in conversation. And in fact, it was kind of hard to even reach them. If the website went down, it could take me a day or two to even contact these guys to try to get them to get the website back up. So what ended up happening was, I think it was about halfway to 3/4 through the year, I had a conversation with them and I said, listen, let's give some of the site responsibility over to people who want to take it on so that if the site goes down, I don't have no website for 2 days, someone else can jump on and they can, help out and fix it, okay? And that did go to one particular person and then a couple backup people, okay? So, okay, that's what happened with the website in 2011. Now I want to tell you the real talk story about, and I know I'm going long, I know this is going to be a long video, so please, bear with me. The real talk story regarding what happened in 2011, regarding my gaming PC that's sitting right there. Because there's been so much misconception, so much half-truth spoken about this, that I have to address it, because this is actually one of the pieces of misinformation that people are using as like a legitimate thing to have an anti-DSP campaign and say that I hate my fans and I'm not grateful. So let's give you the real talk situation. In 2011, I started making money. This was my full-time job doing this. And I said, well, my PC is not up to snuff regarding video editing or even playing games on PC. And there were some games in 2011 that I wanted to play that were PC exclusives, and also some games that I wanted to play the PC-only version. And so I had mentioned in a few of my vlog videos that I was looking to buy a gaming PC. Now, I never said I'm going to buy it at a certain date. I never said, please, someone build me a PC. Never. I said I'm looking to buy a gaming PC. Chris approached me. Chris Furtado from the website approached me. I didn't approach him. He approached me. And he said, hey, Phil, so I watched your video. I heard you're looking for a gaming PC. I am currently enrolled in some program. I don't know if he was an intern or it was something to earn credits for his schoolwork. I have no idea. Keep in mind, he's in school. He's a kid. All right? I would like to build you a gaming PC. And the way that it would work is that we'll write out piece by piece what it is that you actually want in your PC, and I will purchase at my store discount, because I guess he had a discount for whatever this program was, all the items for the PC. I'll custom build the PC for you, and then I'll mail you the PC. And that was the agreement we had. Now, I'm going to be honest. It was pretty much turned into a money pit at one point, okay? And what I mean by that, if you've ever seen the movie The Money Pit, you know. It's a project that when you first look at it, you think it's going to cost you one thing. But as you work on this project, you realize that it's going to be more and more expensive than you originally thought it was going to be. So originally I was thinking a price point of maybe $700, $800, maybe $1,000 tops for building this PC. But as Chris and I went back and forth talking about the build of this PC, we realized more and more, oh man, if we want to have that graphics card, we got to have this better power supply. Oh man, well, if the RAM, we might want to have this amount of RAM, because if you're going to be doing that amount of video editing, you might need this amount of RAM, okay? So initially, what I wanted to be maybe between $700 to $1,000. By all is said and done, first of all, I can't even tell you what it cost because I can't find the damn receipts. Chris actually, when the PC was done, he mailed me all the receipts to prove that he obviously didn't waste my money, which he didn't. He did not, absolutely not. He was very upfront, transparent with what he did when he built that PC. He sent me all the receipts. It's filed away in literally thousands of documents, and I can't find it right now. But what I did do is that I went on my PayPal to see how much money I sent to him directly through PayPal to build this PC. It ended up that I paid him almost $1,600 to build this PC by the time it was done. Now that's only what I can see through PayPal. I don't personally remember if I actually bought anything else outside of PayPal and put it into the PC too. I don't remember, but that was the investment cost that I put into this PC, okay? Okay. So, I finally get the PC, and I open it up, and I'm looking at it. It looked amazing. Had these lights and all these bells and whistles, had everything that I wanted. But I was looking at it, and it has this door. I don't know if you guys know, but on a lot of PC cases, there's a door on the front. You open the door, and inside you'll have your CD drive, your USB ports, and stuff like that. The door had a big crack on it. And I was looking at it like, how did that happen? Okay? But I didn't question it. I said maybe, unfortunately, the case, might have showed up damaged or whatever. I don't know. But I thought Chris would have told me that this case has a giant crack on the front of it, but he never did, all right? So I finally hooked the thing up. Come to find out, when I finally booted the thing up, okay, the front fan on it was damaged. It never held in place properly, and so what I've had to do is I actually have a piece of plastic that I have to wedge into the side of the case to hold the fan in place so it doesn't go like this and make loud noises when I do my commentary. In fact, you probably, last year during 2012, it got real bad. You might have heard some of weird noises. That's what it was. It was the fan from my PC making this really weird squeaking noise, okay? In addition, I had paid for what I believe, and I could be wrong because I didn't get to pull the specs, but I paid for something like 12 gigabytes of RAM because I wanted this to be a beast. I wanted to really chug when it did video editing. And when I booted the PC up, I found that only 8 gigabytes of RAM worked, all right? So now I'm like, oh no, so what's going on? Did I buy a lemon? What's happening with this PC? Luckily for me, it wasn't a lemon. It was just a series of mistakes made by Chris when he was making this PC, okay? He didn't tell me about these mistakes. He just basically said, well, there's problems with it. Oh well, mail it to Phil, too bad. I don't know why. I don't know why he wouldn't have said, Phil, there's a couple problems. Here's what's going on. I want you to know up front so you don't just get it and you're surprised. It was almost, I don't know. I'm speculating. It was almost like he was hoping I wouldn't notice. Like I wasn't tech savvy enough to notice that there were problems with the PC. But the good news is the PC worked for everything I wanted to do. I could do video editing. I could play games. All the high-end games were able to run on it at the time in 2011. So I really didn't complain. I said, you know what? Here's the deal. Chris did a real awesome thing for me when he made this website. He massively helped me. So as a way to pay him back, I did this for him. I'm sure he got credit, whether it was school credits or it was money. I don't know what he got out of it, but he got something out of it positive. And that was really why I got this PC from Chris, to pay him back for doing such a massive thing for me, a positive thing for me. You know, I'm the kind of person, you do something for me, I want to help you back. I'm not just going to say, oh, well, thanks a lot, well, screw you, I don't give a shit. And that's why I got the PC from Chris. I could have went and bought a retail level PC for $700 to $800, which is what I was initially thinking of doing. And quite honestly, the PC probably would have had most of the stuff in it that my PC has right now. So a month or two later, I was trying to finally figure out what was going on with this crack on the front of the PC case, because I didn't know what was going on. And I started to ask around my mods on my website, because keep in mind, like I said, Chris, he's never around. He was like an absentee owner of the website. He doesn't do anything on the website. He was basically there to chat every once in a while, and that was it. But that's fine. He created the site, and I was appreciative of that. So I started talking to my mods on the website, and one of them finally came out and told me, Phil, I hate to tell you this, but you pretty much, you screwed yourself when you did this, and you got this PC from Chris. Because he didn't know what he was doing. Many times when he was building the PC, he actually sought help from people on the website to do it, because it was obvious he didn't know how to do it properly. He actually got the PC cracked, alright? That PC showed up to him damaged. And instead of making a claim on the delivery service that the case came from, he just let it slide. He said, well, oh well, it's not my PC, so I don't care that there's a crack and that the fan's damaged. Let it slide. And so he knew there was damage to the PC when he built it for me. He didn't care. He just wanted to get the PC built and done back to me. Okay? So when I heard this, I was like, I was appalled. Now keep in mind, I'm not making this up. There's people who work at the website who will tell you this. Alright? There's people who, people in the stream chat right now just said, I remember he had a ton of issues with configuring the thing. Alright? It's not a lie. It's blatant fact. Okay? And so I said, you know what? I could be a dick, and I could call out Chris, and I could be a real asshole about this situation, but he did a solid for me. He made this website. This website is a great positive thing, and there's no reason whatsoever for me to be a dick about this. I'm going to just say, even Steven, the PC works. It doesn't work as much as I want it to. I've got 4 dead gigs of RAM inside that don't fucking work. I've got a noisy fan. I've got a cracked case. But for the most part, the PC is working. So I'm not going to be a dick about it and complain, even though I spent way more than I wanted to on this PC. Even Steven, he got something out of it. I hope he had a positive experience doing it. That's it, okay? And that was pretty much the last time I really even mentioned it, okay? Now we're going to fast forward a bit. Okay? We're going to fast forward a bit to 2012. 2012 was a year that was a different experience for me. Because in my entire existence on the internet, it had always been a positive thing of, wow, Phil is building up, he's building up, he's building up. It's getting to a head, you know, wow, this is great, Phil's at the height of his popularity. I really feel that 2012 was the year when that flipped, where it was like, all right, Phil's reached the height of where he's going to go doing what he does on YouTube, and now you're going to see stagnation. And admittedly, there were some things that happened in 2012 that people weren't too pleased with. Number one, revealing that I had a girlfriend, involving her in some of my projects, and my attitude was, listen, this is a positive thing. I want to involve her in certain projects and things. It's not going to be a detriment. It's not like I'm not going to be doing things that you want to see because I'm doing stuff with her. So it's no skin off your back. You lose nothing, but there's also new cool content with co-op with Panda Lee, okay? And a lot of people apparently don't like her. She rubs them the wrong way, whether it's they don't like her personality or whatever. No one's going to like everyone, but that's why I don't shove Panda Lee down everyone's throat. If there's a playthrough where I'm going to do something with her, I let you know ahead of time. So that way you can choose whether or not you want to watch it, okay? And that's that. But what happened was a lot of people decided to take this opportunity to do this ridiculous, sexist, nasty, negative campaign against Panda Lee on YouTube. And it was just ridiculous, the shit that people were saying on my videos. And to this day, I still see it whenever I'm in a video with her, the ridiculous, nasty stuff. And that is just, I'm not even saying for my girlfriend, because she's my girlfriend, for anyone to say some of the vile shit that was said about just women in general, like, you got fucking mental problems. And I know people say, oh, Phil says that all the time. No, if you do that kind of stuff, you have a problem with women. And that's just, you're going to have a bad life if you cannot even just appreciate women and be able to work with women, alright? So, I went on like a censorship campaign to try to stop that stuff, and people didn't like that, okay? And because of that, because basically I was kind of censoring my content in 2012, there was this big negative mentality that came out of that. Phil's censoring all his content. He's a Nazi. He's a dick. He won't let us have free speech. He's not appreciative of us. Fuck him. All right. And I have admitted earlier this year that, yeah, I did censor stuff too much last year. And that's why I did the whole amnesty across the board. And I've tried to change my attitude this year without actively moderating my comments. Okay. But what happened, okay, was that on my website, thekingofhate.com, in the year of 2012, there was a major transition and a major flip. Because I had started moderating my content, there was a group of people, and it wasn't a huge group of people. I would go as much, maybe it was 24 people at the most, who were on my website, who were fans of mine, but because they found out that I was censoring my comments on my YouTube videos, that was like, that's it. Phil, he's given us free content for years. He's done giveaways. We used to love him, but because he started censoring comments, that's it. He's the devil. We hate him. And what happened was, behind the scenes, there began this real negativity on my website, thekingofhate.com. And I hate to admit it, but I have to, because I monitored it. I wanted to see what was going to happen with it. Chris was one of those people. Chris completely flipped on his head. He felt that I had lost my way, said he wasn't a fan of my content anymore. He wasn't watching my content anymore, okay? Now, that's fine. You know what? That is absolutely fine. If Chris doesn't like my stuff, he thinks that I've changed, that's fine. But what he proceeded to do was he had this again, what's happening on YouTube right now was happening on my website a year ago. This bandwagon mentality. Whenever there was a post about a new playthrough that I was doing, whenever there was anything intelligent said, these 10, 20 people would attack the fucking thread. Well, that's because you still watch this asshole's content. I don't know why the fuck you're still watching his stuff. He's a dickhead. He's a censor. He's a racist. He's a bigot. He's this. He's that. And it was just this real negative math. And even though there were people who wouldn't blatantly say that stuff, they'd still, every post that they made was a negative post. All it wasn't legitimate constructive criticism. It was destructive criticism. And that's the worst kind. Criticism just for the sake of making someone look bad or attacking them. And this was happening, and Chris was one of these people. In fact, I had people on my website who were in, say, the stream chat, and they saw Chris not even just participating, but starting conversations like that. Oh, Phil's a dinosaur. He still uses a camera. He won't listen to anything that we say. He just goes like this, meh, 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 and says that he knows best in all situations. He won't listen to fan feedback. He censors us whenever we give him legitimate criticism. I don't like Phil anymore. And it's like, now wait a minute. You're supposedly one of the owners of a fan site for someone, and instead of, if you don't like them, you step back, right? No, he turned it into a smear campaign against me for a year behind my back. And this is the real issue that I have with Chris and anyone who's going to try to attack someone. If you have an issue with someone, fucking be man enough to say it to their face. Chris knew how to reach me. He had my email. Hell, he had personal contact information for me. If he really had an issue at any point, he could have come and said it to me like a man, and we could have talked about it man to man. And not that there would have been a resolution, but that is infinitely better than going behind someone's back and literally trying to convert the people on the fan site and turn the fan site into a hate site. And that's what Chris tried to do during 2012. And I'm not saying it was just him. I said there's this group of people. There was this bullying mentality of about 10 to 20 people who were just completely negative in the year of 2012. Okay? So it's this simple. I called him out on his bullshit. I called him out, and I said, listen, I don't know what the fuck your problem is. I don't have an issue with you. I never did, and I don't know why you're doing this, but I've gotten wind of it. People have sent me chat logs of you doing it. So it's happening. And I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why, but it needs to stop. Because I'm not going to have someone who supposedly is a leader in the community being a negative dick to me behind my back. If you have a problem with me, you say it to my face, and we'll hash it out. And of course, Chris responded, I don't know what you're talking about. This is completely untrue, which I had proof. I had literally black and white proof, and he says it was all untrue. Made no sense, okay? So what I did is I actually did a little bit more research. I started talking to the moderators of the website, and come to find out, what I found out was this, and this is 100% true, regardless of what Chris wants to tell you. Chris has 0% stake in the website. He doesn't own thekingofhate.com. His friend Teo does. Teo is the person who the website is associated with. I'm going to tell you something else which you've probably never heard before, and people, oh, well, you know, Phil, you know, they made this website completely out of their own good free will, right? And they did it just to help Phil. Well, let me tell you something about thekingofhate.com. You know those ads that you see on the website? Guess who makes money on those ads? Not me. They do. They're all in Teo's name, and Teo's been bringing in money from those ads now, supposedly to pay for the site maintenance, to pay to keep the website running. And I've never asked him, does that pay more or less, or is that enough to actually pay to keep the site running? Because again, these guys are absentee owners of the site. They never talk to me about anything. They literally made the site, and then they kind of just went their own way, and I'm okay with that because I found other people who were able to do programming and to keep the site going, okay? So they're making money off of my website, okay? And in addition to that, I don't know how many of you know this, this is not the only fan site that they own. They made a fan site for SSOHPKC and I think one or two other people as well, and they did the same exact thing. They make the site, they put their ads on the site, and then they just become absentee owners of the website. Now again, this is not me complaining, this is me stating fact, okay? So I find out Chris is basically hating on me. I do some research and find out Chris doesn't even own the website. All right? I'm like, now this is ridiculous. I'm not going to put up with this abuse from someone who doesn't even own it. So I contacted Teo directly, and I said, Teo, here's the situation with Chris. Here's what's been going on. I had words with him, and if he keeps it up, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to tell you right now, Teo, I would like to buy the website. I've straight up said, I would like to buy it. I want to buy it from you. That way there's no responsibility on you or Chris. It's fully in my realm. I'll pay for all the site maintenance. You guys can just go off into the sunset and do whatever you want to do. I'm very appreciative for what you guys have done for me. I want to buy the website. Teo responded to me and said, I don't know what's going on with Chris. I haven't been on the website for months. I sincerely apologize. Don't go nuts. Don't try to buy the website from me yet. We can still have things go as they always have. Let me talk to Chris. Okay? After that, I didn't hear from Chris for a long-ass time. All right? A long-ass time. And then what ended up happening later that year, apparently what happened was, I guess Chris had gotten an advanced copy of a game. I think it was either Halo. It was something. I don't even know because I wasn't involved with the situation. He got an advanced copy of the game. He showed it to everyone in a video on the website. He posted it to the website from his YouTube channel. He said, ha, look, I got the game before all of you did, and I'm going to do a playthrough of this game. And I'm going to do it before everyone else, so I'm going to get, more popularity because I got an advanced copy of the game. And I guess a couple people in particular, one being the Airy Lord, called out Chris on the website and said, why are you doing this? Number one, this is Phil's fan site. So why is this even on topic? Number two, Phil is staunchly against getting games before release date and doing anything with them. Why would you post this on his fan site? Number three, we all disagree with your decision to do this. We think that this is wrong. Like, what gives? What's going on? You should really not be doing this. This is a very negative thing that you've put on the website, to which Chris basically flipped out, said, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't post stuff that I want on my own website. I'm leaving. And he made this big announcement video that he was leaving thekingofhate.com permanently and for good. Okay? He didn't. He didn't leave permanently or for good. Okay? Let's fast forward now. Let's fast forward a month or two. I can't remember if this was late 2012 or early 2013. Okay? I don't remember. But once again, after all this stuff happened in 2012, I found myself going to the website and finding this new gang mentality, and it wasn't that Phil is a jerk and his content sucks. It was that Phil's a dinosaur. Phil is outdated. Phil needs to update the way that he does his work, because the way he does his work right now is not acceptable. He uses a camera. Who on earth still does Let's Plays with a camera? The video quality is bad, the audio quality is bad, and he's going to basically fade into the sunset and die off if he doesn't adapt and adjust. And so, I will say this. Chris Furtado posted up a thread on thekingofhate.com. Again, I thought he was gone for good, but he's back. Posts up a thread and says, Phil, I really feel you should do direct capture. I think it would help your views. I think it would help your business as a whole. This is just me being a concerned viewer. And here's how you can do it. And he proceeded to step-by-step break down the equipment that I would need to do it. And basically saying it's super easy. It's not that difficult at all. There's no reason why I shouldn't do it. And I responded and I said, well, Chris, first of all, thank you for all this information. I did. I saved that information for later reference. And I said, well, I have two negatives. I have two negatives to say about the situation. Number one, if I go to direct capture, I have all these wires. Now, you guys have seen this. There's an insane amount of wiring in my all over the fucking floor, all over in front of me. This is like a fire hazard. It really is. And I wanted to hold off on that because I was hoping that eventually I would be able to move to a bigger place where I could have an office, I could organize my cable management, and it wouldn't be all running across a living room. All right, that was number one. I didn't want to make that leap. Number two, I do not, and I still stick by this, I do not like using headphones. I find that sitting in a room like I am right now, listening to the natural surround sound of my speaker setup is infinitely better and a better gaming experience than using gamer headphones. And I said this thing that I guess some people misconstrued, and I've already apologized for it, and I guess I'll apologize for it again, because in particular, this one thing I think people got angry about. I said, I don't agree that the way that you're supposed to play a big AAA video game is sitting in front of a small PC monitor like this, squinting with your headphones on like this with a face cam, and going like this and playing a game. I think that these games are supposed to be experienced on a big screen TV with real surround sound speakers. Why else would they have 1080p graphics with amazing detail? Why else would they have 5.1 surround sound with epic scores, amazing voice acting, all these details in the sound effects? That kind of stuff you don't pick up on headphones, even surround sound headphones, and you don't pick up when you're squinting at a small computer monitor. So what my intention of saying that was that if you have the choice between the two, I think that games were really designed to be experienced on a big screen with surround sound, okay? But what people misconstrued that as was that Phil is saying that anyone who plays on a monitor with headphones is a jerk, they're doing it wrong, and he was being elitist. He's basically saying because you don't have a lot of money, you're not a real gamer. That was not the intention that I meant to portray in that statement, and I apologize to anyone who may have taken it that way because I did not in any way, shape, or form mean to say it like that, okay? So I said these two things. Those were my two and that was it. I stopped reading the thread, okay? And I said, well, I'm actually glad that Chris gave me this advice, gave me all this info. I put it to the side, okay? And maybe a week later, I came back to the site, and I looked at the thread. And guess what the thread turned into? The entire thread turned into people, Chris and other people, not just Chris, again, almost the same people again from the previous year. Phil doesn't listen to us. Phil's an asshole. See, he just blew off all of your recommendations. He didn't really read or listen to what you had to say. And the one poignant thing that Chris said that I remember it. It irks me that he said this in a post. He said, Phil is a dinosaur. He refuses to change. Oh, well, let's see him die. Let's see him die off into obscurity. He's going to be gone after this year. And I saw that. I was like, man. I really didn't get that vibe from his initial post. His initial post seemed very positive, and just because I didn't immediately say, okay, I'll drop everything and adopt direct capture, it's like he completely changed. Because I wouldn't listen to what he had to say and immediately make the change, that was it. I'm an asshole. And what it really is, it's self-entitlement, all right? They're people, and it's mostly younger people, although don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that younger people are bad, but it's something that you'll learn in life, is that you're not entitled to anything. Just because you have an opinion doesn't mean that someone has to immediately change or respond to your opinion, okay? Because you have a recommendation. And just because someone doesn't immediately take your recommendation and do it immediately, doesn't mean that they're disrespecting you. It just means that maybe they don't think it's what's best at the time. But I always had in the back of my head, wow, I was appreciative that Chris gave me all this information. All right? And to see him say that in the post, I was like, this kid is basically just completely misunderstanding everything about me at this point. And I don't understand why he's even on this website anymore if this is the kind of attitude he's going to have, okay? So now this all came to a head. Back in, March. Because in March, it was a spur-of-the-moment decision. There were all these new games coming out earlier this year. And if you remember, this year, very early on in the year, a bajillion new games came out. And I really feel the reason they did was because they were trying to rush them out before the new consoles come out in just a couple months now. Okay? So all these new games came out early in the year. And I said, oh, shit. The new consoles are going to come out later this year. I've got all these new games coming out now. if I'm going to make the adjustment, I need to do it now. Because if I try to rush to make the adjustment to direct capture when the new consoles come out, it's going to be a hot mess. I may lose out on a huge opportunity when these new consoles are coming out. I need to do it now. And I found in my life, at least is my personal experience, if you're going to make a big change like that, you just fucking put your head down, push forward, and you get it the fuck done. You don't dilly-dally, you don't delay, you don't announce, oh, in 6 months' time, I'm going to be changing, you have a countdown meter and a countdown to change. No. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Just do it. So I did. One day I went to the store with John Rambo. We bought all the equipment there that was recommended. I used Chris's recommendations. I literally used everything Chris had said to try to set up my direct capture setup, and then I also used, obviously, John Rambo's know-how of the XSplit program to get it to work, all right? Immediately, what I found was that out of all the recommendations Chris gave me, it was all half information. He didn't actually tell me about this little problem that was going to happen here, and this little problem that was going to happen here. I didn't even know that the PlayStation 3 had what's called HDCP, which is high definition copy protection, and that you couldn't stream through HDMI, and that I was going to have to use some kind of an adapter cable, use the component, run it through something to get it to work for direct capture. And in fact, I didn't know this, but the HD PVR2, which is what I use right now to capture on everything, I'm using it right now to capture this vlog, actually has issues with the PlayStation 3. It's actually not a good thing to use with the PlayStation 3 bare bones. Now, eventually what I ended up doing to get it to work, I bought a whole bunch of audio rippers and things that pass through, and basically they bypass that high definition copy protection, and now I am able to use my PS3 with my HD PVR2. But he mentioned none of this in his initial post that supposedly was the definitive post on how I could start live streaming, and if I didn't listen to that, I was a dinosaur, okay? So, here I was one night. The next day I was supposed to be playing a game, I think it was on PS3, and here I am trying to figure it out, and I'll be honest, I was ripping pissed, because here I am trying to figure it out, and admittedly, I was having a drink that night, so maybe my judgment was somewhat impaired in what I was doing. And this took place not on YouTube in a public video where I was calling someone out. This took place on the stream chat during a stream where it was a test-only stream. I think there were like 100 people on the stream, if that. Okay, because it was me testing my PS3 equipment, trying to get it to my PS3 to work with my HD PVR2, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to fucking work. I was just having massive problems. And Chris was in the chat, basically kind of like, well, you know, you should have figured it out. You know, this is what you get for doing it so late, blah, blah. He was basically almost insulting me. And that was the last fucking straw. I was like, this is it. I've done nothing but, you know, helpful things for this kid, and he's attacking me. And I had it. And I led into him. I said, listen, who the fuck do you think you are? Just because you made me a website, you think you can treat me like dirt at this point? So I finally decided that I am going to adjust to what you said. Everything you told me about it, half of it was wrong because I didn't know anything about the difficulties with PS3. And now who the fuck are you to basically, you know, say this shit to me in the chat? Fuck you, and you owe me an apology. I did. I publicly said, fuck you. You owe me an apology for doing this. And Chris absolutely said, what? This is ridiculous. I refuse. He left the chat, wouldn't talk about it or anything, nothing, okay? Now keep in mind, this was in March. I don't talk to Chris. I already said this. He's an absentee owner of the website, whatever you want to say. I haven't talked to him ever, really, in a personal conversation about anything, except the one time I called him out on the website to stop hating on me. All of a sudden, a couple months ago, and I don't remember exactly when it was, I find out, Phil, did you hear? Chris Furtado made a video about you, and it's complete nastiness, saying that you're an asshole, saying that he has definitive proof, that, you know, you've lied about things in the past, and that you're a dick, and you're unappreciative of everything. I was like, listen, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what the stick up his ass ever was about me to begin with. I've never really said a negative thing about the guy at all, except for 1 or 2 times in a forum post where he was being a dick to me, and once on my stream chat in front of maybe 100 people. If you noticed, and this is just let's be honest here, if you notice, have I ever, until right now, ever addressed him? Have I ever made a public video lambasting him and making fun of him and yelling at him and attack? No, because that's not what I do. There's no reason for me to focus on the negativity, all right? And so what I've done with all the negative stuff, having a PC that was only half functions the way it's supposed to and was way over budget, the fact that he didn't tell me that it was dropped and damaged up front, the fact that he literally was the part of a movement in 2012, there was just real nasty and negativity on the website to the point where I had to call him out, the fact that he makes money on the website, him and Teo, through the ads, okay, and that he's going to spin it like it's some amazing, great thing that he did for me making the website. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people who would have loved to make a website for me too, okay? But these were the first guys to step up and do it because they had done it for other people. So, again, I'm very appreciative of that. But for you to take all that and to think that that's an excuse to be negative, to be nasty, to say stuff about me on my website, then to call me a dinosaur, to insult me again, to say that I'm behind the times and you hope that I fail this year. And now it all comes to a head full circle when he makes this hate-filled video, all of half-truths. So in the video, he says things like, Phil said that he spent $3,000 on a PC. That's not true. Here's a receipt showing that he only spent $1,000 or $1,200 or wherever it was. So, okay, again, seed of truth. At one time on a forum post, I probably said, oh, thousands of dollars or $3,000, whatever. It was on a forum post. It wasn't a public video where I stated this and was trying to call out Chris on making me a bum PC. I really never really even did that, okay? So, all right, maybe I had the dollar amount off on some obscure forum post that really no one ever saw. He makes a video about it saying, like I've made a video to the masses for thousands of people and slandered his name. I never did that because it's not important enough for me to even bother doing it. It's a waste of my time. Like I said, I focus on the positive, not the negative. So he makes this one point, says it was only $1,200. Complete lie, because I have PayPal records that show I've sent him at least over $1,500 if and when I didn't even spend more money on other components. I don't know. I can't prove it because I don't have the receipts in front of me. He went on to even address directly when I insulted him and I basically told him to fuck off and I asked for an apology, all right? It happened. Absolutely it happened. Because he had been literally just fucking attacking the shit out of me for an entire year in 2012 to the point where I had to tell him to cut it the fuck out or I'm going to buy the website from you guys. And then 2013 he came back and did it again. So this guy, I don't know what the fuck Chris Furtado's problem is. And again, if he was a man, he would have come right to me and said, Phil, I have issues with you. These are the issues I have with you. Let's hash them out man to man. Instead, he just went, very backhandedly behind my back for years, trying to amass people on the website to be anti-DSP, calling me dinosaurs and stuff like that. And then finally culminates when he makes this video on YouTube, and the video blew up. You want to know why the video blew up? Because no one expected that. This guy is someone who, I used to publicly thank on a regular basis for making me my website, and his attitude about me had completely changed without him so much as ever even discussing it with me like a man. So it was a blatant attack, and people were like, wow, I'm really taken aback that Chris is doing this. And ever since then, what's happened is people who maybe were fans of mine for a long time or whatever saw that video and they were like, whoa, this may be a dark side of DSP that we didn't know about, all right? So again, I'm not just saying anything that Chris is saying that he's a complete liar, because he's not. There's seeds of truth in everything. But he basically took little seeds of truth and twisted them into these ridiculous, overblown arguments. And the video is hilarious because he says, oh, I'm not a hater. Yet during the video, he blatantly says, screw Phil, I hope he fails, and things like that. You don't hope that people fail unless you're a hater. You know what I mean? That's pretty much directly what it is. So ever since then, Chris has been on this anti-DSP campaign, and he's been trying to amass support from people who have been my viewers for quite some time, trying to twist little things, little factual things, into big overblown things that they're not, and make me look bad. And I'm to the point where I can't just not say. I had to come out today and get this off my chest and explain to everybody what the truth of the situation was. Now, it's funny. Because last night, I was mulling over. There's been a lot of stuff, full disclosure here, there's been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life right now. There's things going on with my dad, there's things going on with other stuff that you guys don't need to know about, and there's a lot of stuff going on that it is kind of bumming me out to the point where, I look to YouTube as, all right, I may be bummed out right now, but there's positive stuff. I can go to YouTube, I go to Twitch, and I can have this cool stuff going on. And then I go there, and all I see, thumbs down, fuck Phil hates his fans, listen to Chris knows what he's talking about, fuck you. And I'm like, that's it. That's the last fucking straw. I'm not going to put up with this bullying bullshit anymore from someone who's made it his personal agenda to hate on me, to fucking push his views, and get his popularity to skyrocket. Chris Furtado is nothing but a bully. That's what Chris Furtado is. He's not some kind of a loyal fan who twisted and turned over the years, and because of things that I did, he changed his attitude. I don't know what his problem is, because I've never had an actual conversation with the guy about the situation, because he won't. And by the way, I'm not interested in it anymore, because last night he went on Twitter, and I will quote this for you. Last night on Twitter, he tweeted, "Darkside Phil is the cancer of the gaming community." All right? I want you to think about that. Before I even respond, I want you to think about how you would feel if someone called you cancer. One of the most destructive diseases on the planet. It ruins lives. It ruins families. It's one of the most horrendous things that you can think of. All right? He's going to call me cancer. All right? I know people who've died of fucking cancer, Chris. All right? Now I got a problem with you. Because that's where I draw the fucking line. All right? All the things that I've done over the years to give you guys, and I'm not talking to Chris anymore, I'm talking to all the viewers, to give you guys fun content, to give you guys entertainment, to make you laugh, to put a smile on your face when otherwise maybe you were having a bad day, and, you know, I just need to do something to kind of, you know, cheer me up, and people jump on and they watch my content and they put a smile on their face. I have so many heartfelt messages from people who've told me that over the years that my content is, you know, uplifting for them. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing and never giving up through all the negativity, because it's a positive for them, okay? And that positivity is what keeps me going. That's really what keeps me going, because I'll be honest, there were a couple times when I was like, when my original Darkside Phil channel got shut down, I was like so disappointed and flipping pissed. When I got kicked off, when I lost my job, when I got kicked off of YouTube, when I got kicked off of Blip TV, when I saw this negativity on my website, it's like hurdle after hurdle after hurdle that I've had to jump over these past few years in order to make this thing work. It's not easy. And by any means, I don't want you to misconstrue this and make it feel like I'm saying that my job is insanely hard. It's not. Here's what I do. I wake up every morning, I plan out what I'm going to play, I put up a few tweets, I play a few games, direct capture, upload it, babysit the uploads. Yes, I put up with the frustrations of Twitch TV's chat, alright, that's fucked up. I put up with the frustrations of YouTube, but I understand that being a gamer and gaming and being able to make a living off of that is a privilege, it's an amazing amount of luck, and it's because of you, the viewer, that I am able to do that, and I am eternally grateful for that. And that's why when I get the opportunity to do new interactive stuff like live streaming this year, okay, when I get the opportunity to do giveaways, to do things, I've got giveaways coming up later this year that I think you guys are going to love. When I get to do things like fan appreciation and play with you guys from time to time, I love it, because I hope that I am at least giving back to you for what you've given to me. You've given me more than I can ever give back to you. It's the bottom line. Even if all this ends tomorrow and I get banned from YouTube and I'm banned from Twitch and I can't do this anymore, you guys have already given me probably, I'd say, 3 solid years of the best years of my life. I've been able to do so much fun stuff these past 3 years because of you, the viewer, and I want you to know how much I love all you guys because of that, all right? Like, the outpouring of support and positivity and that I've gotten over the years, that's such an amazing thing. And it's easy for me to get wrapped up in all the negatives all the time. The bottom line is, I am so happy to be where I am. I am so happy that you guys have made so many things possible for me. And I don't want it to end, all right? And when I see this ridiculous campaign of people who are basically trying to slander me because this one particular person who supposedly people thought he was like a figurehead in the community has flipped his opinion and he's going to be saying these things about me. Now everyone's found this as a legitimate reason to hate me, even though it's all based off little nuggets of truth and nothing that's fully true, okay? It's disheartening, it's alarming, it's saddening. I want to be at a point where I can go back to YouTube and Twitch and feel positive about what I'm doing. Not that I'm going to have a group of hundreds of people who've now found it their new hobby to hate on DSP because it's cool, it's the in thing to do. Oh, there's legitimacy to it because Chris Furtado, who made his website, hates him. And, you know, that's just it's to a point where I had to address it, and it has to stop. It does. It has to stop. No one can go on with this kind of thing happening nonstop. Now, I fully realize that pretty much nothing that I've said right now is ever going to change the fact that there's always going to be people that hate me. There's people who are going to take things out of this video. They're going to say that they're bullshit. They're going to take them out of context. I'm sure maybe I said something wrong once or twice in this video, and they'll find a little way to nitpick it, all right? And they'll nitpick it and say, you know, Phil was wrong here. He's a liar. He's lying to you. Whatever. Those people will never go away because those people are parasites. Those are people who don't have any kind of talent. They don't have any kind of positivity. They don't have any kind of content that they can provide for you that'll ever be anything worth a shit. So what they do is they focus on the negative. They try to find flaws in others and they break them down and they nitpick them to the point where now, oh wow, this could be entertaining because I really destroyed this fucking guy, and they put that out as their content. So they're going to do that because they've realized they've gotten a big dose of popularity right now, all right? And it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of the situation, is that right now on YouTube, it's a fad. Everyone's doing it. You're going to see more and more people do it. I would like to make a request if I could, all right? And I don't know if anyone's gonna you know, buy into it, but I get so many messages on a daily basis about positivity. Phil, thank you so much for putting up with all this crap that's going on. I just got one today. Thank you for putting up with all the negativity that's going on. Please continue to make your content. We love what you're doing. We support you. And thanks so much. And that's the kind of thing that keeps me going. But the thing is, they send me a PM. They don't make a giant ranting video about it on YouTube. So what happens? You search for Dark Side Phil on YouTube and you see all the stupid rants from people who are out for themselves and aren't not telling the truth about me and my content, okay? And you see none of the positive stuff. So what I would ask is that if you are anyone who has been following my content, whether it's been for 2 days or 20 years, even though I haven't been making content for 20 years, maybe you went back in time in a time machine and watched it on loop on your laptop, I don't know, to start talking about it. Spread the word about the positivity about my stuff. What's your favorite DSP video ever? What was the favorite playthrough I did? What was your favorite vlog? What kind of stuff are you looking forward to for the rest of this year? Let's get some positivity out there. Let's talk about the stuff that we're really excited for this year instead of focusing on the negative. Because I don't understand how these people can go through their lives focusing on the negative. I'm the kind of person that if I don't like something, okay, then I won't be a part of it. If I don't like a certain TV show, do I take it upon myself to watch every TV show of theirs, of that show, and then immediately go online, wow, the show really sucked this week, what a piece of shit, I hope that the people involved die and they all fail and become unemployed, all right? But it's funny because some people say that we do that with wrestling with smart guys. That is not true whatsoever. We do smart guys because we love pro wrestling, we love the product, and we're trying to give constructive recommendations of how it can improve. There is a vast difference between a constructive recommendation and just blatantly watching something to hate on it. How could you go through life doing that? And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. If you are that kind of person, you need to reflect on your life because you have something wrong up here. You're not going to get through life if all you do is focus on the negative and you focus on the bullshit. You need to focus on the positive things, the things that make you get up in the morning on a day when you feel like shit. A day when you don't want to get up, you don't want to put in the grind at your job, or you don't want to go to school. There's something positive to look forward to. Not, oh, I'm looking forward to getting up and watching a new video from someone I hate and shitting all over it. And then making a montage video of it, talking about how bad it is, and then making a slanderous video about that person as well. Like, what? This is what these people are doing. And it just baffles my mind that these people exist. How can you live like that? All right? So what I would ask from everyone is this. If you are an actual viewer of mine, a fan of mine, start the positive talk going. Talk to everyone about what you like. Make a vlog about it, you know? Start the positivity train going, because that's what we really need. We need to turn this around to the point where, like, okay, so there's this group of people that hate them, but look at the people who like them too. All right, now I'll watch them and I'll make my own decision. Because that's not what's happening right now. As I've said numerous times in this video, people are just going to YouTube, type in Dark Side Phil, and immediately there's 20 hate videos. Wow, this guy must be a real piece of shit. I mean, 20 people here said it. I'm not going to watch his content. Fuck him. And then they go elsewhere, you know? And, you know, again, I tried to ignore it for a month straight now, to the point where I couldn't anymore because it was nagging me in the back of my head. I had to speak out about this issue. And also, there's just these people who are not my hardcore fans, and they're skipping my content. They're saying there's too much negativity associated with Darkside Phil right now, and I don't understand it. But these people are saying he's a dick and he mistreats his fans. Well, fuck it. Let's not watch his content. And it's real disheartening. It's disheartening when you put out something that you know is quality, all right? Something like yesterday, Rayman Legends. John and I, we played Rayman Origins 2 years ago. That was during the wave of popularity that I had in 2011. Whenever we played something, we got the benefit of the doubt. Everyone considered me the underdog trying to make it. Here we are 2 years later, and it seems like that mentality is completely flipped on its head. It's like when Phil does something, let's find a way to nitpick it and make it sound like it's shit and make him sound bad so that no one will watch his content. So look at night and day, you know? Look at how Rayman Legends is being received right now versus 2 years ago. All those people, they're casual viewers who normally would have watched those videos, and they said, well, DSP's an asshole because this is what these people said, and they're booking. And that's concerning because we've got big games coming. We got Grand Theft Auto 5 in less than 2 weeks. Obviously, I want lots of people to give it a shot. Lots of people are not going to because of this negativity that's going on right now on YouTube. And so I really need your help and your buy-in if you are someone who's watched my content for a while and you're a friend of mine or you're a fan of mine and you support me, to start spreading the positivity, all right? Because at this point, you know, I want this to continue. And like I said this year, I always expected, after that 1 or 2 years, you know, late 2010, 2011, that there was a big spike in my views. And I said, I knew that that could not last. That was nuts. It was like out of control, all right? And then over 2012, it declined a little. This year, I've seen a sharp decline. And I'm not complaining. I'm still doing well enough that I could support myself. But I don't want this to go away. I don't want this overwhelming negativity to turn off so many people because of misinformation from one fucking person who basically is a vile person calling me cancer. Me. I'm the person now. Even if you hate my guts now, okay? You have to at least look back on the body of my work and admit that at some point there was probably something there that entertained you, and that is the reason why you even know who I am. I've tried numerous times in my career here on YouTube and Twitch to do things for positive reasons. Do you remember Bill S.978 and the SOPA and PIPA and how I spoke up about those issues? My video got over 600,000 views. That video got the attention of demandprogress.org. They directly contacted me and used that video to push their agenda to the mainstream. And in fact, after SOPA and PIPA got shot down, demandprogress.org personally contacted me because they wanted me to be in their book. They're writing a book about how SOPA and PIPA got shut down, and my video was such a big part of it. They wanted me to be part of the book. And you know what I said? No. I said, I don't do it for the credit. I do it for the positive impact that I can leave on people. I don't want people to see my name in a book and say that Phil pushed the agenda and he's a major reason why that issue got out, because I don't need the credit. The credit was that it got shut down. That's all I care about, all right? So for you to call me cancer when the bottom line is what I did a few years ago saved a lot of people's asses. There's people who were doing video game footage on the internet probably wouldn't have been able to if SOPA and PIPA didn't get shot down. Now, not by any means am I saying I'm the only person responsible for it, but I was one of the first people to break the issue, and I let 600,000 people across the globe know about it, and they all spoke the fuck up and got it shut down. You think I'm cancer? No. People who make negative montages about people who just care about the negativity and try to break people down and twist little facts to try to make your agenda pass so you can get views, that's the real disease of the gaming community. That's the people who need to shut the fuck up because they're not helping anything. They're basically getting popular, making money at the expense of others when they have nothing entertaining whatsoever and nothing positive whatsoever to put out there. They're the ones that need to shut the fuck up because they're the ones that are going to ruin things for everyone. All right? Okay. So. It's a load. It's a massive load off my shoulders. It's a massive load off my shoulders to finally get that off my chest. And I do feel relieved to finally say it. Okay? And I'm sorry. All I can say is this. I am sorry that I had to do that. Because the massive amount of influence that Chris had amassed, because he supposedly was the owner of my website, okay? For him to do what he's done, for him to say the things that he said, I had to respond, and I didn't want to. I said for the longest time, I had a PC that didn't work properly and was damaged. I never said a word about it. You know, I attacked him, sure. One night, I was a little drunk. I was a little pissed off. I attacked him in the stream chat, and I do admit that that was wrong to do. But he does still owe me an apology. I mean, now at this point, with all the shit he said about me, no apology's ever going to make up for it. Fuck it. Like, it's done. That bridge is burned. He's never, ever going to be friends with me again. You know, I'm never going to give him the time of day. Forget that shit. But it's absolutely ridiculous that his influence and his misinformation, his blatant misinformation that he's been telling everyone, has amassed this following of people that are all believing something that's untrue. Okay? So I want to say thank you to everyone who watched this video, whether it was on YouTube or you watched this stream. It's been extremely long, I know. I got my message out there. I said what I had to say. And hopefully now, you know, you make your own judgments. You decide whether or not, well, you know, maybe if this is the truth, then that's the truth. Maybe I'll give Phil another shot, or maybe you don't care. Either way, I'm going to continue pushing forward. I'm going to try to remain positive, especially now that I got it off my chest. I do feel a lot more relieved, and I feel like I can be positive and I can push forward in a positive manner, and I'm hoping that you'll give my content a shot. If you're one of the people who maybe said, I'm not going to watch Phil anymore because all these people are saying he's a dick, I hope that you understand that I am doing this. Sure, it's a hobby that I enjoy, but I'm doing it for your enjoyment too. If no one's enjoying what I'm doing, you know, if I wasn't getting these positive messages, it wouldn't be worth it. I would go out there, and whether or not it was in the job field that I was working in, I would have to go work 3 part-time jobs to make ends meet, and I'd have to do it, because I'm not going to sit here and have this negativity on me every day when I feel that I don't deserve it. Sure, I deserve criticism. I don't deserve to be called cancer. All right? That's where I fucking really draw the line. At this point, that's done. That's where you are my enemy for life. You're going to call me cancer. All right? So, that's that. I'm glad I got it off my chest. Thank you very much. Please, as I said, if you are a fan of my content, you don't even have to be a fan, just a viewer. Let's put some positivity out there. Let's make some vlogs about the positive stuff that you've seen from me, the stuff that really entertains you, the stuff that you're looking forward to coming up the rest of this year. Keep in mind, we got GTA 5, we got Beyond Two Souls, which is from the same people who made Heavy Rain, one of my favorite playthroughs and best playthroughs of all time. We got 2 new consoles coming out. I want to attack this with positivity moving forward. And I really hope that, hopefully, if you've listened, taken the time to listen to this entire message, that you now know the true story and you'll at least give it another shot, okay? So that's it. I said my piece, and that's that. I'm still on stream right now. What I'm actually going to do is go ahead and upload this to YouTube. It's going to take a while, but I hope that you've given it a shot, and now you know the true story, and you make your own judgments from now on. Again, I wasn't looking to get anything positive or negative out of this. I know that it's going to be spun in different ways, but that's why I don't have comments on the video. That's why I don't have likes on the video. That's why I'm not putting ads on the video, because I just want you to watch it for face value, and you judge for yourself whether or not this video has been worth your time and whether or not you want to watch this content in the future. Okay? Thank you, everyone. I'm Darkside Phil. I'm extremely appreciative that all of you gave me your attention today. I have almost 3,000 people on the stream chat right now. Hopefully people on YouTube will watch the video as well. And I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep doing what I do, and I hope that you'll join me for it, okay? Along the journey. The journey's not over. The journey is still, some people like to say it's just begun. Do I feel like it's just begun? No. But I think that we are still full with a head of steam with all the cool stuff that's going to be coming in the next few months. I didn't want this to become a big negative vibe. I want us to all have fun together. That's the bottom line. And I hope that you guys have fun watching my content and will join me for some of the most amazing experiences coming up pretty soon. Okay? So that's it. I'm DSP. I'm the same guy I've always been since day one. I haven't changed, giving you the real talk. Felt like I had to do it today. I hope you appreciate that. And I will see you guys for gameplay later today, actually. At this point, I'm probably going to take a break because I just talked for so long that I needed a break. But probably I'll get some food, come back, and we'll do some gameplay tonight. And that's that. So thank you, everyone. I'm very appreciative of your time. And as always, peace out. Be safe. And I'll see you for gameplay real soon. Thanks.